Hi, good evening, and welcome to meditation. Today is the 9th of September. It is quite warm here in France. It's very hot, actually. So, look, I've been exposed to the light of the sun today, walking with a friend. But we are here to share in 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verses 16 to 18. Therefore, we do not lose heart. Why? Though outwardly we are wasting away, yet inwardly we are being renewed day by day. For our light and momentary troubles are achieving for us an eternal glory that far outweighs them all. So we fix our eyes not on what is seen, but in what is unseen, since what is seen is temporary, but what is unseen is eternal. Interesting. Let's have a look at what Paul have been talking, because it's interesting. He said, therefore. Why is he saying therefore? Let's read, check what he's been saying in chapter 4, but also in chapter 2 and 3. So he can say, therefore, we do not lose heart. So Paul was talking in chapter 4 how a more glorious covenant should be presented, and how he preached the glorious gospel, the glory of the gospel of Jesus Christ. He also was interesting to understand why more people don't respond to such a glorious gospel. We know that. But he also explained how the treasure is in clay of pots. So he shows that there is a weakness in us, as he's going to say in this text that we just read, that our outwardly we are perishing, but inwardly we are being renewed. Our external man, he calls it, is actually dying, but our internal one is being renewed by Jesus Christ. The treasure is in clay of pots. So the topic of Paul is going to be not the clay, the pots, but Jesus himself, the treasure. It is a great treasure that it's contained in a humble container. The treasure is great, and the container is little, is small. He also shares, as he shares everywhere in this letter, including chapter 11, on how preaching the gospel he had to go through many different times of troubles and tribulations, but he put his faith in the life-giving God. He put his faith in the life-giving God. So after he said all that, he said, therefore. So what is Paul going to teach us today? He's going to tell us that we should not lose heart. Because though our pot is made of clay, though we are wasting away, yet inside we are being renewed day by day. And he's going to say that our tribulations here are light and momentarily. The tribulation is light, and the troubles are momentary, or light and momentary troubles. They will pass away. Paul is not saying that what you are going through, it's nothing, because sometimes, especially in the evangelical world, people come to you and say, well, my brother or my sister, what you are going through is nothing compared to the death of Christ on the cross. Your pain is a real pain. Your trouble is a real trouble. And no one could tell Paul, you don't know what suffering is, because he knew. And he's going to say that he's defending himself actually in 2 Corinthians, and he's defending his ministry as well, as you probably have already seen. And he's going to defend it in 2 Corinthians chapter 11, verses 23 to 28. As they are the servants of Christ. I am out of my mind to talk like this, he says. I am more. I have worked much harder, being in prison more frequently, being flogged more severely, and being exposed to death again and again. 5 times, he says, I received from the Jews the 40 lashes minus 1, 39. 3 times I was beaten with rods. Once I was pelted with stones. 3 times I was shipwrecked. I spent a night and a day in the open sea. I have been constantly on the move. I have been in dangers from rivers, in danger from bandits, in danger from my fellow Jews, in danger from the Gentiles, in danger in the city, in danger in the country, in danger at sea, as is already explained, and in danger from false believers. I have labored and toiled and have often gone without sleep. I have known hunger and thirst and have often gone without food. I have been cold and naked. Besides everything else, I face daily the pressure of my concern for all the churches. He also says here that his concern for the churches is also part of his tribulation. So you see, Paul is not saying that you don't suffer. What he's doing here is that he's comparing our sufferings with the glory of God that's going to be revealed in us. It's already been revealed a bit, but it's going to be revealed even more. He's saying, as he compares these two different realities, he says that our troubles are light. They are light because they are achieving for us an eternal glory that far outweighs them all. Apparently, the word glory in the Old Testament has this connotation of something that is heavy. He's saying that the weight of God's glory that we are achieving is much, much, much greater than our trials and troubles. So, he says, we fix our eyes not on what is seen, but on what is unseen, since what is seen is temporary, but what is unseen is eternal. God does not tell you to compare your suffering with someone else's suffering. Because, as we say in French, on va pas s'en sortir. We're not going to get out of here. We're going to be going round and round all the time. We are comparing our sufferings with the glory of God revealed in us. That makes all the difference. Because if you compare your suffering with someone else's suffering, you're not going to go forward. As Paul says not Paul, we don't know who, but someone says in Hebrews chapter 12 that we have to fix our eyes on Jesus and run. When the athletes ran in those days, they didn't look at the left or at the right. They don't do that either today. But they fixed their eyes on the goal and they ran. And they ran. And that's the way to do it. That's how the Bible is telling us to do. Here, it is Paul who is saying in 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 18, fix our eyes not on what is seen, but in what is unseen. Why? Because what is seen is temporary, but the glory of God is eternal. So you see, it's not by comparing your suffering with someone else's suffering. It's comparing your suffering with the glory of God that's going to be revealed in you. God bless you.